With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, 29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
Welcome in, guys, to WagerTalk Today. It is Friday, July 15th. It is not the Prez, not Steve Merrill or Teddy Covers. Andrew McGinnis, Rob Bino, your host today for WagerTalk Today. I would say I have big shoes to fill, Rob, but I think Prez wears about a size 5 or 6. So I think we'll be all right. We'll get the show off to a good note. We'll have some fun together. We have Skee Profit, Carmine Bianco, and Andy Lang joining us on today's show. Going to mix in some baseball, some WNBA, some UFC, covering a lot of different stuff. Also some MLS action with Carmine Bianco. So looking forward to the show. Happy to be here hosting, and happy Friday to you, Rob.
Yeah, happy Friday to you, Andrew. What a pairing they have put together here. I think this could be the new wave for this show here. Yourself and I will have a little bit of fun. Like you say, we got Skee coming on first, Carm, always good, and Andy, of course, with, a various amount of sports. I often, marvel at what Andy does because I have enough trouble keeping up with the core five, you know what I mean? And he's out there handicapping everything else. So we'll try and provide the best information we can in place of Prez and Teddy today and have a little fun while we do it.
Absolutely. So starting this show off, what they usually do, figure out what did you learn last night. Rob, what have you learned last night, this week? And I just want to say real quick, I mean, they're calling it July being the dog days of summer for sports fans and sports bettors. It's been a pretty busy time still, but what have you learned?
Yeah, I'm glad the way you phrased that, Andrew, last night or this week, because I think what I learned kind of fits right into that mold. And I think what I learned is that the Chicago White Sox may have been written off too fast here. Currently on a 3-game winning streak, 44-45 in the AL Central Division. Really a forgotten team, and because they've been so disappointing, a team that's been the butt of a lot of jokes here, and maybe a lot of fade money as well. But they're as healthy as they've been all season. The lineup's almost intact. It's a shame they had just gotten Eloy Jimenez back. Now Eloy Jimenez tweaked something the other night. We'll see. He hasn't been put on the IL yet, I don't think. But we'll see how it goes. But you just go up and down the list of injuries. Tim Anderson, 18 games out. Yohan Moncada, 2 DL stints. Jimenez, as we talked about, he missed 72 games, then came back. A.J. Pollock, Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, Lucas Giolito, 2 stints, including COVID. Liam Hendricks, the list goes on and on. So they've been injury bit for sure. I'm not a big fan of their manager, Tony La Russa, but I'm a fan of their talent on paper. And like I say, they've had to face Cleveland and Minnesota, the 2 major competitors inside that division. Last 3 games have looked pretty good. They're currently on a 5-2 run at this point in time. During those 5 wins, the pitching staff allowed 2 runs or less in all 5 of those. Dylan Cease has been incredible. Lucas Giolito seems to have turned things back around. He was, off the rails for a little bit there. Johnny Cueto, maybe the glue that's held this whole thing together, believe it or not, with his Louis Tiant act. And the back end of that bullpen, pretty solid at this point. Ronaldo Lopez, Kendall Graveman, Liam Hendricks. It's what we expected to start with. Not really what we got, but they're turning it around at this point. From here on out, rest of the way, Andrew, they have the second easiest schedule in Major League Baseball. Their opponent's win percentage, .471. The rest of the way out, the Twins rank at 16th toughest at 498. There's 12 games left between the two. I think if you're looking to the future board, and of course, trade deadline's going to have a lot to do with this, but if you're looking at the future board right now to win that division, Chicago's plus 160. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be around that long. I think it might be worth a shot, but I think what I learned is that the White Sox may have been written off a little too quickly.
Great stuff there, Rob. And I think that schedule watching is really important. And we talk about going day by day and how, that can be helpful as well, not getting too far ahead of yourself. But what you just did there and projecting, how their schedule is going to be a lot easier than kind of the battle they've gone through right now, I think it's really important for handicapping, not just in the MLB, but every single sport. And, I've been doing a lot about that right now with my NFL research in college, but especially with a league like the MLB. They're playing so many games. There's going to be patches where you go through and you're playing some real tough opponents. Rob looking at the White Sox to get hot and the rest of the season with a lot easier of a schedule. What I learned, Rob, last night in the CFL, Canadian Football League, we saw again a Western Conference opponent out east win outright. They closed as plus 9.5 underdogs. That's the Edmonton Elks. The record now, Rob, from West teams versus East teams, 13-1 straight up. Not against the spread. That's straight up, the West versus the East. The crazy part is people expected the East to be almost more competitive this year than the West. Pretty much since I was very, very young, the West has always been the dominant conference in the CFL. This year, everybody kind of thought it might change. Finally, we'd see the East dominate. No, 13-1. We're here in week 6. Straight up. That's pretty incredible just to take a look at those stats. Those are numbers that you just can't really ignore. So if you're betting the CFL, guys, keep that in mind. The Western Conference continues to get it done against the East. Let's bring in Skee Profit. Looking forward to seeing Hakeem in Vegas. Skee, we've had some fun together. You've showed me around. Hopefully we're going to have a lot more fun as well at the meet and greet. All of you guys out there watching this, we hope to see you there as well with all of us. But what's going on, Skee? How are things, man?
I'm doing well. And yeah, we'll hopefully see both of you guys and we'll have a lot of fun. And you told me, Andrew, you're a basketball player first. So I want to see if, you're participating in the hoops event, but everything's good for me. The past few weeks, I've come on this show on Friday and I've given some pretty good information for MLB. So I'll try to do the same today.
Look forward to it. Yeah, we've got 2 MLB games, and if we have time, we'll slide in a WNBA play. And yeah, Skee, last time, man, our one of our producers and content guys, Chris Allen, he gives me a call. I'm in my hotel room, and he's like, "Hey, man, where are you?" I was like, "What do you mean? I'm at my hotel. What do you mean, where are you?" And he's like, "I'm at the court." Anyway, nobody even told me where the court was. I didn't have my basketball shoes. I'll be ready to go this time. But San Diego, Arizona, first game up here. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I'll kind of, keep it simple. When I'm looking at MLB, when I'm looking over the cards, a couple guys I want to target each and every start. And for this one, I'm looking for Yu Darvish anytime he's at home. At home, ERA 1.69 compared to 5.25 on the road. But I'm not quite sure that I could bet the Padres to win this game. Looking at the bullpen, 5.73 ERA over the last 2 weeks. They're 20th weighted runs created plus versus lefties in that same span. So I just really don't trust the bats, don't trust the bullpen. It's only Darvish. So when I feel like that, I just simplify it even more. I look at his last 8 starts, 7 of them, opponents have scored less than 4 runs for a game. 7 of them, they've scored less than 2 runs in the first 5 innings. And like I said, I usually back him to win. He's 18-7 straight up at the house for the Padres, but he's lost his last 2. So I chose to go first 5 under 1.5 for Arizona in this one, and that's minus 125. Just a straight back of Yu Darvish.
Yes, Skee, makes sense to me. I mean, Yu Darvish, a guy who's really found his niche again. All 6, 7, 10, 11 pitches, whatever it is he throws, seem to work. Arizona's been pesky as of late, but maybe not enough. San Diego, they come out of that house of horrors, which is Colorado. Last 14 games there, they've now lost 13. Back home, the offense was good. I don't know that I could really counter much of what you said, because I think one of the best points you made was about the bullpen with San Diego. It's been a disaster on the back end, especially recently. They just can't seem to get people out. So we'll see if, in fact, coming back home against Arizona helps them out any here against Madison Bumgarner. But I'm going to let you go ahead and move on to your second game here. Go ahead and give us what you got up next for the viewers.
Well, the next game is going to be Philly and Miami. And let me spend a little bit of time on Gibson because I can talk all day about Sandy. But Gibson, his last start, 7 innings pitched, didn't give up any runs. Before that, he was giving them up left and right, 6.2 innings, 11 runs. So I don't really trust him. You look at Sandy, his last 3 starts, he's went 24 innings. He has a 0.75 ERA. The bullpen for Miami is trustworthy, 2.6 over the last 2 weeks compared to 3.29 for Philly. So I trust the pitching for Miami. I just don't trust the bats. 26 weighted runs created plus over the last 2 weeks versus righties compared to 20 for the Phillies. So similar to how we did with in the previous game with Yu Darvish, I just want to back him. I'm looking at his last 12 starts in general. The first 5, he's 5-1-6. If you want to look at the full game, he's won 10 out of his 12 starts. 10 out of 12, he's held opponents under 2 runs in the first 5 innings. And 11 out of those 12 times, the full game for opponents, they've scored less than 4 runs. Now, I wanted to double up and do the first 5 team total under for the Phillies and the full game because the Phillies as well, they've scored 3 or less, I think, in 8 straight games. But they lowered it. It's 2.5. And at that number, it's just a little bit too low for me. It goes to, he's held them under 7 out of 13 times instead of 11 out of 12. So the best bet for me in this game, you trust Sandy for 5 innings to hold the Phillies down. Phillies first 5 team total under 1.5.
I wanted to ask you, Skee, looking at kind of these first 5 angles and first 5 team total unders, right now it seems like people are just done with full game betting. Unless you're betting a full game over, it's just all about isolating these pitchers. Is that something that's really kind of taken over your handicapping arsenal and your tool bag, where it's more so just looking at these pitchers, how you can get it done in the first 5, whether it's a team total or a side wager? Are you getting involved in many full games, or especially with these 2 guys on the hill, you know what you want, you know what you're getting, and you want to get it done in the first 5?
I do still get involved with full games. Sometimes, guys like Sandy, like if I trusted the bats here, I could go with the full game because I know he'll give me 7, 8 innings anyway. But some other guys who I know are only good for about 5, I'm going to, lock in and target on that. So I do a little bit of both. I don't really favor one over the other. Just wherever I find the edge in the game, that's where my money will be.
We've got time to slide in one more game here. Let's jump into the WNBA. We've got 2 teams with losing records here. Lynx and the Fever here, Minnesota and Indiana here. Tell us about this matchup and what you're involved in.
Yeah, I like a couple different plays for this game. And the Minnesota Lynx, they're a lot better than their record is. Like, they were unhealthy for majority of the year. And ever since they've gotten healthy, they've been playing really good basketball, and they can still make a push to make the playoffs. The last, maybe like the last 3.5 weeks, they're the 3rd best net rated team. 10.6 in the Fever are dead last, minus 20.4. Rob, you know how much I dislike this Fever team. I think they're the worst in the league. They've lost 7 games in a row. I look at teams that have lost 5 or more in a row. They continue to lose. 72% of the time. In the games that the Fever lose, they don't cover. They lose by 14 points per game. They've lost 20 games, I think, so far this year. They've only covered 3. So I don't think you have to worry about laying the 3.5, 4 points for Minnesota. They have a lot of motivation, with this being Sylvia Fowles last season, to, make it memorable and actually do something this back end of the season. And they need to beat these bad teams because they're going to play some good teams. And they play teams like the Dream, Fever, Sparks, teams that they need to leapfrog to make the playoffs. So this is a, show me game. If Minnesota wants to compete for the rest of the season, they will likely blow the Fever out. And I also like the over in this game. Minnesota is on a back-to-back. And in general, I think defense is going to be the first thing to go. And in general, Fever are not a good defensive team. They're dead last. Minnesota is 10th. And they should have a lot of easy baskets at the rim. Sylvia fouls. Like the Fever are dead last protecting the paint. And I looked up a couple numbers to kind of put with how I'm feeling. Teams on a back-to-back with a total greater than 155, the over has hit 58.3% of the time. If you want to look at these higher totals, like over 164, see even more, 59.1% of the time. So I like Minnesota -3.5, and I like the full game over 166.
Yes, Skee, real quick. I just want a little input into this pick here because I followed your advice on WNBA for the better portion of this season. And Minnesota, like we know, to start the year, there's a bunch of cuts, a lot of reshuffling of personnel with this team, and it looked pretty bleak, really. But they seem to have come together. I mean, you look at what they did against that trio, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Phoenix, 3 straight wins. I think goes to your point that they're playing a lot better right now, and the scoring seems to be up. I know when you said, Rob, you know how I feel about the Fever. Here's what I know. Here's what you taught me. The Fever are bums. So
there you go.
For those of you out there, remember, the Fever are bums. I like where you're going with this one. For everybody who listening to that analysis right there, I think it's spot on. So good job with the Lynx and the Fever analysis.
Appreciate that.
Right now, every single package, 50% off at WagerTalk for the rest of July, 50% off. You know, one of those times a year you want to try out a handicapper, you want to give someone a shot. Now is the time to do so. What do you have going for your clients this weekend?
Well, I know today I have 2 free plays in MLB on my page. I've made 4 plays in WNBA, and there's a week 1 best bet for NFL available. And like you said, you can get a discount now because it's like half off. So a lot of ways to make money, and appreciate you guys having me on, and good luck to everybody.
Awesome stuff, Skee. Great to see you. Look forward to seeing you in August. We've got more coming on the show, guys. Lots more. Carmine Bianco, Andy Lang, and here comes Rob Venos' big game breakdown right after a short break.
With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, $29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
Yeah, I like the way in that little montage there leading in that Teddy has all the bettors thinking real hard and then cheering real loud. So he must do a really good job pushing winners across during this segment. We'll see if we can do the same here today. Going to take a look at the Chicago White Sox Minnesota Twins game. Talked a little bit about the White Sox earlier and how I feel like maybe they were written off a little bit too soon here and could have a big second half push coming. In this particular game, I'm going to leave this one open for interpretation or preference of the viewership here. Over first 5 innings or over full game. I myself prefer a little bit of over full game here, but I would not argue anybody off of either. Let's go through a few reasons why here. The White Sox, last year versus left-handed pitching, the White Sox, that used to be the thing, probably the first thing off the tip of your tongue. White Sox versus lefties, mechanically, knee-jerk reaction, go bet them. This year, guess what? They're number 1 once again in OPS versus left-handed pitching, 805 number there. Number 1 in batting average against lefties, 288. Number 1 in weighted runs created, plus 129. Good thing about the White Sox here against lefties is they don't strike out very much against left-handed pitching. Ranked 19th overall in that category in Major League Baseball, only a 21.8% rate. And Devin Smeltzer, the lefty on the hill for Minnesota, is not a strikeout pitcher. So that matchup kind of fits hand in glove. You're going to get White Sox contact. The White Sox have made good contact against lefties. I think that could lead to runs for the White Sox, who happen to be a hot team right now with the bats. We talked about how their lineup is coming together health-wise. The Twins raked Michael Kopech, the White Sox starter here tonight 10 days ago. Absolutely destroyed him. Got 6 earned runs off him in 4 2/3. Put 12 guys on base in 4 2/3. And through that course of time, hit 4 home runs. So this is a guy to their liking. I think the Twins offense, which has been pretty good over the last 10 games as well. The 2 games against Milwaukee excluded. They faced really tough pitching there. But here, I think they've got a guy that they like. Devin Smeltzer, something that might contradict where I'm going with this game. He's got really good home splits. However, when you take a look at the level of opposition that he's pitched against, 30 home innings this year, those 30 home innings are against Cleveland twice, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Baltimore, which has been a phenomenon as of late, but none of those would be considered top elite offenses against left-handed pitching in Major League Baseball. In fact, they all rank between 14 and 30. For those of you who prefer first 5 innings, I'll go through this for you. The Twins' first 5-inning runs scored totals in their last 8 games. How about 7, then a 2, 7, 8, 13, 9, and 10. 7 of the last 8 games the Twins have played have gone over tonight's first 5 total of 5, 7 out of 8 times. Pretty good numbers there. Had some real high scoring beginnings to games for the Twins lately. Twins full game results pretty much the same. 6, 2, and 1. 9 runs or more over the course of their last 9. And in 7 games this season, between these two head-to-head, 5 of those have gone 9 runs or more, 1 under, and 1 push. So 5-1-1, pretty strong number toward the full game over as well. I think you can take your choice. Either first 5 over 5, full game over 9. I'm doing this blind. Generally, I don't like to do it without knowing the home plate umpire. But in this case, I think the numbers are so strong offensively, and the pitching matchup sets up so well for both offenses. We're going to give it a try. I'll give you guys the choice. First 5 over 5 or full game over 9. White Sox versus Twins.
Absolutely great stuff there, Robin. I love the way you phrased that. You'll give people the choice. Hey, we're going to expect some runs. You decide. Do you want it to come early? Do you want it to come full game? Either way, Rob is expecting some runs in that game. Great stuff there, Rob. We're going to bring in Carmine Bianco, my co-host with Puck Time. But it is not the winter. It's not hockey season. We are here in July. It feels weird right now, Carm. He's going to talk Red Sox, Yankees, and, of course, some MLS action. You've got the Chicago Fire and Seattle Sounders. Carm, before we jump into any games, though, I got to give you credit because we have our meet and greet coming up in August, which I can't wait. You and I were on the phone talking about that a couple days ago. But you were the one that initially had the idea for a Puck Time meet and greet, which pretty much turned into a Wager Talk meet and greet. And I'd say it went pretty well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I couldn't believe how many people came out to the event, how many people from Wager Talk who came in from out of town. That was such a great time at Westgate. And this one is going to be tenfold of that one. Everyone is coming in for this one that I know of. So if you're on the fence on coming in, this is a great time. Contest signups at the Superbook, the Circa ones as well too. Great time with Winner Circle Proxy, so you can get those plays in. Those contests are great, and then you're going to eat and drink on the Wager Talk tab. I think Johnny put up the food and drinks, which is always good. We're going to have those Viva Seltzers. Everything's there. There's golf. There's hoops. Man, I haven't played basketball in like 10 plus years, Andrew. I'm just I'm just a little roly-poly right now, but. Yeah, I've got I don't know if you can't see it right up there, but I've got the Wager Talk basketball jersey behind me. There it is, right there. It's got Bianco on the other side. And I'm going to bring some of these with no names on them, but some Wager Talk ones, and I'm going to give them out to some of the guys out there. I'm going to bring some up. So come out, find us at Westgate, of course, and I'm looking forward to it. It's just going to be a great time.
Yeah, Carmen, I'll say this. I had to get out of a family wedding to make it out there for this weekend, but this will be my chance to dine Italian with you, Carm. I've been waiting a long, long time. So if we don't find each other together in an Italian restaurant at some point in time, I'll be disappointed. We'll make sure that happens. But let's get to the baseball real quick here, because you want to start with what may be the top rivalry in all of baseball. Some might argue Cubs, Cardinals, but let's face it, Red Sox, Yankees are where it's at. And the Red Sox come off a real disappointing 4-game sweep against the Tampa Bay Rays, an injured team. Boston had chances, blow all 4 games. Now they got to come in and play the Yanks, who also had a difficult series with the Cincinnati Reds, right? The lowly Reds drove the Yanks to the brink in almost every game, beat them a couple. How are you looking at this one here tonight to start off the series?
Yeah, the Yankees ripped my heart out this past week. Variance caught up to me. I was having a really good run. Variance got up to me this past week, but we'll turn it around. But Clay Holmes coming in up 3-0 in the 9th inning against Cincinnati, and they lose that game 4-3. Wasn't one that I liked. But as far as this game was, listen, I feel good about saying this because the last time I was on WagerTalk TV and talking to Teddy about the Red Sox, I said the Red Sox are a team you need to fade right now because they're going into a stretch of 16 games wrapped around the All-Star game where they're going to play the AL East, and they just hadn't been playing well against the AL East at the time. And since that game on the 5th, that shows on the 5th, they've gone 2-8 since that. Pavetta, who I talked about, I thought he was a fade coming off of those easy starts against teams that just couldn't hit in June. He was a fade, and back-to-back losses for, back-to-back bad performances for him. He allowed 7 runs against Tampa Bay and 6 before being pulled after 3 in the 3rd against the Yankees. He was supposed to pitch tonight, which is why I put this game on the schedule for to discuss today. But he's pitching tomorrow. They're gonna pitch Eovaldi today, and I'm gonna go with the under 4.5 first 5 innings. Eovaldi obviously went on the injury reserve back in June after a couple of quality starts with a lower, I think it was lower back stiffness, but his simulated game went well. He pitched well, and he's going to come back. And he had, I think, 5 or 6 4 quality starts prior to going on that. And then you look at it while the Sox do well against lefties. I think they are 15-7 versus lefties. And Montgomery going tonight, he's coming off a couple of good quality starts, including one against this Boston team where he held them to 2 runs over 5 2/3 innings. So I don't trust the bullpens just based on what has happened to me the last couple of weeks with these two teams and blowing some late leads. The market has moved on the full game total. This opened up at 8.5, has been driven down to 8 now. A half a run is pretty big as far as a line move goes from overnight. But the first 5 total is still at 4.5, and I'm going to go under the total in this one.
You want me to hop in here, Andrew?
Yeah.
Carm, real quick.
Somebody hop in.
The Eovaldi switch. Yeah, I was waiting. That's on me. The switch to Nate Eovaldi. I've got a personal, I'm not going to say blanket statement 100% of the time, but I'm going to say pretty darn close, where I'm fearful of starting pitchers coming off the IL. Do you share that same fear, or do you think when they come off, they're playable? In this case, you like an under, so you're expecting good first 5 results out of the right-hander. Do you share that same fear, or are you just a guy who, once they come off, they're good to go?
No, I do, but I think it's pitcher specific. I also talked about on the last show about Scherzer coming off the DL, and I thought he would perform extremely well. They ended up, I think, losing that game 1-0, but I think he pitched into the 6th inning and didn't allow a run. So Eovaldi's a good pitcher, so I'm not worried about him. If it was someone else, so they're getting some help back in the rotation, and they've had to move things around because I think one of their pitchers after his last start for the Sox tested positive for COVID. And I'm not sure if that has a trickle down effect for them, but they've had I think 7 or 8 of their pitchers on the injury list this season. So it's been tough on the Sox, but he's a quality starter coming back. He had 4 really good starts, 4 quality starts before going on that deal, and it wasn't anything other than a stiff lower back. But it's something that with someone like him, you've got to be careful of. Having him come back, I think he does well tonight. It's always tough to take an under with that Yankees lineup the way it is. But if anything, I think he can do it. We got a couple of good pitchers tonight. And again, I don't trust the full game line. I think it's something that comes back to me is what Dave Koken used to say at the beginning of the season is you might be better taking those first 5 lines if you don't trust it once that game gets into the 8th or 9th inning. Sometimes that lead or that total blows up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bullpens are like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get with those guys. you don't know what you're going to get. Carm, let's jump into some soccer talk, or as they call it in most places in the world, some football. Take a look at this game. We're going to talk some MLS, but I want to bring up real quick. You have an EPL guide coming out. You do a lot of these guides. You were plus 80 units, number 1 in EPL last season. Tell us about your guide, and then we'll jump in to your game.
Yeah, I try and do it every year. I've got 2 of them going right now because I'm also doing one for the World Cup. That'll take a little more work. That's about 30 to 35 pages, that one. But I try and do a preview of the EPL each season, let you know what has happened during the transfer windows. And I put in some futures and prop bets, excuse me, because I think it's very important that if you can get, before the season starts, in on some of these higher price future bets, they hit. One of the ones I mentioned last year and I gave out to my clients was the exact order of finish in the EPL for the top 3, with Man City winning, Liverpool coming second, and Chelsea coming third. Books offered that up at 10-1 odds, and that one hit. So grabbing one of these ones and you just shelve it for a few bucks at the end of the season when it cashes, it's a nice little surprise. And we've been very good with futures. I normally will go with futures that Andrew and Rob that offer a lot of value that you can maybe hedge out later on. If you look at the ones I've released in soccer at WagerTalk in the World Cup, France and Croatia to meet in the finals at 7-1 and 40-1 each way. So you're always going to make money there. Chelsea 20-1 to win Champions League, Real Madrid 18-1, and then 33-1 to win Champions League. And of course, the team that couldn't qualify for the World Cup this year, Italy, to win the Euros at 12-1. I'm very sour about that, but I'll cheer for the U.S. and Canada. But with that said, the EPL one will be out. It'll be they'll have a ton of info in it, some future bets that will be client plays as well with it. So that'll be out next week. I need to fine tune it, and the transfer markets are still going on. Players are being signed still. So I wanted to mention that before we got into this first game, Andrew.
Yeah, and once again, 80% bankroll increase for Carm in the EPL. Let's jump into some MLS action. I love the MLS, a very fun league to watch. Take a look at 2 teams here that have recently fallen to your Toronto FC, but you're not looking at a side in this one. You are looking at the total in this game. What do you like here, Carm?
Yeah, sorry. I think originally I sent you the wrong info. These are 2 teams that have spanked the Toronto. It doesn't take much to beat Toronto of late. This is a team that's near the bottom of the standings, and they keep signing the Italian players. They just signed another one yesterday. I guess as I said, the Italian team has the summer off, so maybe they're spending some time in Toronto. But with that said, Andrew, I'm looking at the Chicago and Seattle game, and this is the way I'm going to break it down. I don't want to take a side in this. I'm going to look at the total in this one. It currently sits at 2.5. And, the Sounders are a team that are normally near the top or at the top of the Western Conference standings, but they're struggling this year. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they played in the CONCACAF Champions League, a competition that's normally dominated by the Mexican teams. And Seattle became the first team to actually win that competition, MLS team to win that competition. So they're sort of playing from behind. They struggled early. They've been playing a little bit better of late, even though it doesn't look like it in the score lines. But they're a team that once they hit the road, they just can't score. They're averaging about a goal a game. I think on the dot for this team, 7 of their 9 games have stayed under the total. Under that total of 2.5. And then they're going to a Chicago team who come off a 2-0 win against Toronto earlier this week. And another team that as well plays much better defensively. When you look at their home splits of road and away, 6-4 to the under at home, allowing 0.8 goals per game at home while only scoring 1.1 goals per game. I expect Seattle to turn it around and become a buy team sort of moving forward, but I'm not really willing to invest on them as a small dog. This just looks like one of those games that's going to finish 1-1. And that is actually the lowest price on the exact score odds at books, where it's paying plus 550 with 1-0 for either side being the next lowest prices. I think this stays under the total. I think we see two teams competing, playing a defensive game, and this stays under the total of 2.5.
All right, Carm, looking towards the under in this one. And MLS is usually a really exciting league with lots of pace, but Carm, looking towards the under here. Real quick, Carm, what do you have going on tonight and for the rest of the weekend for your clients? All plays right now, 50% off.
Yeah, all plays 50% off. 3 plays up in MLB, looking to jumpstart the weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend with some MLS as well too. The Euros are going on. This is the women's Euros, of course, going on, and we've already cashed a few plays, quite a few plays in those ones. So hopefully we'll keep that going as well. It's going to be a very busy weekend, but 3 plays up tonight in MLB. I've got a coupon code CARM30. Which will get you $30 off a 7-day all access. So you'll get it for $69 or less than $10 a day. And with a busy weekend ahead and then into next week, it's not a bad deal.
Awesome stuff, Carm. Thanks a lot, man. Good luck this weekend. Rob, we're gonna bring in Andy here, and you talked about it earlier in the show about the mixed bag of goodies you can get. In the handicapping arsenal of Andy Lang. I mean, we're getting some UFC, we're getting some NFL future prop bets here. We're getting some out wagers in the MLB. We're getting a lot of different stuff. You never know what you're going to get with Andy Lang here, Rob.
Yeah, this guy's beautiful. I'm telling you, I've come to learn over the course of time that I've been on shows with him that, again, Andy, at the start of the show, I was just saying how many different things you cover. It's amazing to me that you can get to all of this stuff, but we are going to get to an array of stuff here with you this afternoon. So, let me start with this. If only the NBA would allow Andy Lang to kick in a little extra money, the Pacers could have gotten DeAndre Ayton and outbid the Phoenix Suns, but they don't allow that Andy Lang money. And therefore, he's back to Phoenix. But we're going to get to Major League Baseball here real quick. Skee was on earlier with us, talked about his affection for Sandy Alcantara. I don't know that there's any of us who bet baseball that don't find ways to bet this guy's right arm. He's just been tremendous. He's kind of a throwback. He goes deep into games. He played him first 5, didn't trust the offense for the full game, even though Alcantara likes to go deep. I think that's where you're headed here. So go ahead and tell us which way you want to play Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins tonight.
Well, first off, somebody in the chat said that WagerTalk won't give out a pick that ain't minus 150 or chalkier. That is nonsense. That is completely unacceptable, and I will not hear it. I like Alcantara over 20.5 outs at minus 165 here, though. No, in all honesty, when I did the write up and submitted it, it was like minus 120. This line has moved, so we'll go over it real quick. So if you don't want to lay juice, don't play it, or if it's a parlay piece, go ahead. But yeah, we're gonna take over 20.5 outs. He's gone over in 12 straight games. He's a machine. Pitching against the Phillies, have scored 3 or fewer runs in 6 straight games. Their offense isn't scaring anyone, and this is right before the All-Star break. There's really no reason to pull these guys out early. So we're seeing some of these guys staying a little bit longer. Johnny cashed his outs prop yesterday in a similar situation. He's also come on record, said he would love to be the starting pitcher in the All-Star game. So if he's having a really good game, they may give him a little bit of extra time to pad his stats. He's expressed how interested he is in that. But like I said, line movement a lot this morning. Sometimes that happens on K-props and the outs. But I'm certainly not playing him under. No way. He's been a machine. So give me over 20.5 outs for Sandy today.
And we actually talked on our Prop It Up show earlier today, Andy, with you and I and Matt, about these props, the out props. I mean, for the K props, I mean, those are history now. We've got more fancy things to worry about with these out props, and there's so many different props really you can look at now in the majors and really across all sports. I just find it so cool because there's not just one avenue you can go down now to attack these pitchers. So many different ways you can look at it. You've got some UFC action for us, not for tomorrow, Andy, for next week's event in London. Tell us about it and tell us why you're looking ahead so far ahead here.
Okay, well, first off, just a quick reminder to everyone, this event starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So do not wait to get your plays in. Don't look to find plays tomorrow afternoon. You got to get them in today. That's for tomorrow's. So the event next week is in England, and there's a lot of favorites. There's a lot of English fighters fighting. As soon as the event is over tomorrow, bettors in the UFC are going to be looking ahead. These lines are going to move drastically. So if you haven't done your research for next week's event, I would get on it because there's some really, really good places to take advantage. So I'm going to parlay two fighters that have really easy matchups, Nicholas Dalby and Mark Diakese. Again, this is for next Saturday's event, but I'm telling you these lines are going to move starting Sunday. So we'll start with Nicholas Dalby. He's fighting Claudio Silva, who Silva's awful. He should dominate him. Silva's 39 years old. He's lost 2 in a row to James Krause and Court McGee. He got dominated against Court McGee, who is not very good and on the downside of his career. McGee had 8 minutes of control time. Dalby's just more active. He's stronger, better cardio. Dalby all day against Claudio Silva, which could be Claudio Silva's last fight in the UFC. And then Mark Diakese is being handed a really generous opponent. He's coming off a pretty impressive fight against Slava, where Diakese had 11 takedowns and over 12 minutes of control. It did not make for an exciting fight, but it was a domination. Now, Diakese has lost 2 out of 3, but Andrew, one of them was a decision to Fiziev. That doesn't look like a bad loss anymore, you know? So losing 2 out of 3, you got to look at the opponents. This is a really, really good get-right fight against Damir Hadzovic, who is terrible. He has 1 win in the last 3 years, and that was against a guy who had lost 4 in a row and got cut from the UFC. He's way slower. He's not as athletic. This is a get-right fight for Diakese. So you're getting 2 fighters that should easily roll, parlay them together for a price that's less than minus 150. But if you wait, it's going to be over minus 150, and we don't do that here at WagerTalk.
Well, I love the way you mentioned that about kind of the previous fights, right? Because I think the UFC, every sport you can do this, Andy, but the UFC in particular, you can look at a guy's record, let's say last 3 or 5 fights, and without looking at who those fights were against, you're going to strictly go against the W's or the L's. But you take a look at who that fighter went up against and how the fight went, it can really change your mind on your handicap. So I like the way you mentioned that, because a lot of times I might back a guy on a 3-fight losing streak, but the guys he's fought are all top 5 in his division type guys. So I really like what you said there. I like doing these 2-teamers as well when they're getting these great matchups like you mentioned. But I have to ask you, are you ever worried about kind of this early before weigh-ins, more than a week out? Is that stuff ever really something that you worry about, or is it you're just saying, you know what, I want to get ahead, get the best number, and I trust these guys to get it done with their matchups?
Yeah, you got to trust that there's going to be no, injury. There shouldn't be injury issues the week before a fight. You could worry about somebody missing weight or something strange, but those are few and far between. I would much rather get the best of the line week in and week out and pick these UFC parlays before the lines. Because, Andrew, these lines don't move 10 cents, like 20 cents. These lines can move $1, $2. So, that's just a matter of waiting for a couple of days. So I would just prefer to get the best of the line and let the chips fall where they may the week leading up to the fight.
Andy, you've got a NFL future prop for us. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Rob.
No, I was going to say the same exact thing. So let's go ahead. I'll hop in. Andy, I looked at this when you sent it over. I said, let me just go look at why Andy's coming in this direction. And It's often, the term is often used. Bookmakers might be slow because there's so much other stuff going on. Bookmakers are our friends. I don't want to call them slow or off in the number or anything, but I got to tell you, this number, and you're going to give us the facts, appears to be off. I think the direction you're headed poses a great deal of value. So go ahead. This prop concerns Dalton Schultz, the tight end of the Dallas Cowboys. Go ahead and tell us which way you're leaning.
Well, it's his touchdowns, and the books have it at 5.5. And you're right. I look at this twice because it didn't make any sense. I think we just got a really soft number that we can take advantage of. This guy had 8 touchdowns last regular season. Dak Prescott targeted him 12 times inside the 20-yard line. He had touchdowns inside the 20, but that means he had 4 touchdowns outside of the 20-yard line. He is a legit touchdown target for Prescott. Amari Cooper is not there. He had 8 touchdowns last year. And, this isn't like Dalton Schultz was only a red zone target. He had 104 targets in the Cowboys offense last year. So he's not just one of those guys that's in short and has an insane amount of touchdowns based on how many targets he get. He's a real weapon. You've got Michael Gallup coming back from injury. A lot of attention, I'm sure, is going to be on CeeDee Lamb. But, even if he has a little bit of regression down from 8 touchdowns and only has like 7 or 6, you're sitting a cash on it. So this was one of my favorite player futures that I saw. So give me Dalton Schultz over 5.5 touchdowns in a Cowboys offense without Amari Cooper, who loves targeting him inside the red zone.
We promised you a mixed bag with Andy, and that's definitely what we got. 3 great, games here and great, props and different things to give out. So awesome stuff there, Andy. And again, a reminder, guys, to you out there, the UFC play that Andy did mention, that is for next week. If you're scrolling your board, you're searching for it, it's not for tomorrow. That's for next week. Thanks so much to Andy Lang for joining us. Check him out, WagerTalk.com. Every single play, 50% off. Let's jump into the presidential address. I'm going to take a seat in Prez's seat here and talk about some plays and some promo codes in just 1 second. All right, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Rob Veno for hosting with me. Lots of fun. Really enjoyed it. All of our guests for coming on. Skee, Carm, and Andy. A great, great time. All of you guys for watching us here every single day on WagerTalk TV. And really, the active chat, the comments, we do really appreciate all of you guys for joining us and subscribing and liking all that good stuff. I don't really have several picks. I just have one pick, kind of a presidential big game breakdown, if you will. I'll keep it short and sweet here. Before I jump into it, though, I have a promo code, guys. I have 2 5% plays coming up this weekend. One is a UFC and one is a CFL. You can use the promo code Andrew30. Take $100 off a 30-day pass from me. That's Andrew30. Take $100 off a 30-day pass. Again, 5% UFC this weekend, 5% CFL. So grab that, take $100 off a 30-day pass. But guys, we're going to take a look at the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Toronto Argonauts game in the Canadian Football League. And this game is actually in my neck of the woods in the far, far east coast of Canada. I guess the NFL goes to London and the CFL goes to the far east coast where I am in Nova Scotia, Canada. And I'm actually taking a look at the team that's coming from the far west, the Saskatchewan Roughriders here. The number is short. It's come down to 2, still some 2.5s at some places, but we've got some injuries for Saskatchewan. But what I've realized is that they have the depth to overcome these injuries. They've proven it to us. They proved it to us last week. And I'm not going to overreact to some of the injuries that they have on the defensive position, on the lines. I really am going to react to what I've seen from the Argos. And the Argos are a team right now that are just finding ways to lose. Teams that I can't trust, I'm betting against them, and I'm going to think they're going to explode. I mean, right now, we take a look at this Argos team. They're arguing on the sideline. Their team chemistry is low. I don't trust them. The Riders are going to get it done. Lay the 2 points with the Riders over the Argos. CFL this weekend. We'll get it done. That's my free play. All my best bets over at WagerTalk.com. Rob Veno, any closing remarks from you on this show, and then we'll send folks away for the weekend.
real quick, let me just say over at WagerTalk.com, the month of July, half price, single packages, single game packages, full day packages, everything half price, 50% off for the month of July. So get on over to WagerTalk.com. I myself have a 4% best bet in Major League Baseball up and available right now. Andrew, this was good, buddy. This was fun to get together with you and talk to these guys and get out the information that they all present each and every day for you and I to sit here and listen. I've been in this racket a long, long time, and it never gets old listening to other guys' thoughts. Andy brought forth that Dalton Schultz touchdown total over 5.5. To me, I would have never saw it unless he said it. So again, like I say, it's great to work with the whole group that we work with because there's a lot of knowledge here. But this was fun. I hope Teddy and Prez appreciate the amount of hard work we poured in here, Andrew. And maybe we'll get back to do it again. But if not, I will definitely see you for Wager Talk Meet and Greet, weekend of August 19th to 21st. Those of you who want to come and join us, go ahead and get some flights out there. We'll all be there waiting for you.
Awesome stuff, Rob. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And best of luck to you this weekend. On behalf of Rob Vino, all of our guests, all of our producers, I'm Andrew, and good luck, guys.
Let's go, Tigers!
Are you ready for the Wager Talk Meet and Greet 2 in Vegas this August? Following the success of our March Madness meet and greet at the Superbook Clubhouse, we're heading back to the desert before football season, and we're bringing plenty of friends with us. Who? Plenty of Wager Talk personalities with a handful of Las Vegas friends. What? Super Contest Weekend. Where? Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. When? August 19th through the 21st, 2022, with the meet and greet that Saturday. Why? Drinks, golf, hoops, football, and fun. The Westgate has graciously extended a large block with discounted rooms for those looking to join us for Super Contest Weekend. To take advantage of the discounted room block, you must call the Westgate at 1-800-457-3307 and use promo code ZSCSP22 when booking. The discounted rate is not available for online booking. Stay on top of the latest updates by going to wt.buzz/mg and hope to see all of you in August.